Josh Taylor walked into the OVO Hydro in Glasgow with hopes of redemption. Once considered one of the most feared fighters in the light welterweight division, the move up to welterweight was meant to be a fresh start. A new weight class, a hometown, crowd, and a relatively less-known opponent in Ekow Essuman. But what was meant to be a triumphant homecoming turned into a nightmare, and possibly the final chapter of a storied career. From the opening bell, Taylor looked sharp. He bounced on his feet, utilizing the jab effectively, setting the pace in the first couple of rounds. The Scottish crowd roared every time he landed a clean shot. His timing seemed back, his movement crisp. Many thought this was the old Josh Taylor re-emerging after back-to-back losses. He circled away from Essuman's pressure, touched him with quick 1-2s, and even managed to open up his guard with some clever feints. But Essuman wasn't there to be a stepping stone. The Nottingham native, often overlooked and underrated, came in with his own goals. Quietly building his resume in the British circuit, Essuman was hungry. By the third round, he had adjusted to Taylor's rhythm. He started cutting off the ring, throwing to the body and timing Taylor's exits with overhand rights. The tide wasn't turning dramatically, but something was shifting. The fourth and fifth rounds were closely contested. Taylor still had his moments, especially when he led combinations, but Essuman's pressure was beginning to pay off. He was walking through the jab and landing heavier, more thudding punches. The crowd remained behind Taylor, but you could sense the unease. Taylor, once the undisputed king at 140, was now being matched, if not outgunned, by someone with far less international experience. Things took a darker turn in the seventh round. A nasty head clash opened up a gash above Taylor's right eye. The cut wasn't catastrophic, but it was clearly bothering him. Blood trickled down, threatening his vision. Essuman smelled the opportunity and ramped up the pressure. From that point on, Taylor seemed to lose a step. He was no longer leading with confidence. He started fighting on the back foot, more reactive than proactive. Essuman, meanwhile, found another gear. He began pinning Taylor against the ropes, unleashing combinations and targeting the body. His punches weren't flashy, but they were effective. Taylor's output dropped, his footwork slowed, and his defense began to leak. Every time he tried to rally, Essuman met him with a counter. In the 9th and 10th rounds, Taylor looked like a man stuck between instinct and exhaustion. The 11th round was perhaps the most telling. Taylor, now visibly fatigued, tried to mount an offense. He threw a flurry of punches, hoping to steal the round, maybe even shift the narrative. But Essuman absorbed the shots and fired back with more venom. A big right hand landed flush on Taylor's chin, sending a jolt through the crowd. He stayed upright, but the damage was visible. He was slowing down. He was breaking. In the final round, Taylor tried to give the fans something to remember. He pressed forward with whatever was left in the tank. He showed heart. He always does, but it wasn't enough. Essuman, calm and collected, fought smart. He didn't take unnecessary risks. He knew he was ahead, and he controlled the last 3 minutes like a true professional. When the final bell rang, the arena was filled with polite applause, but the energy had shifted. This wasn't the comeback story fans had hoped for. The judges' scorecards confirmed what most already knew. 116 to 113, 116 to 112, 115 to 113, all in favor of Ekow Essuman, a unanimous decision. And with that, Josh Taylor suffered his third consecutive loss, arguably the most painful of all. Not just because it happened in front of his home crowd, but because it signaled something much deeper, a potential decline that's hard to ignore. For Essuman, this was a career-defining moment. He walked into enemy territory and left with the biggest win of his life. No one can call him underrated now. With the WBO Global and WBO European welterweight titles in hand, he has a legitimate claim to be a top contender. He didn't just beat Taylor, he outworked, outlasted, and outsmarted him. His stock has never been higher. For Taylor, though, the questions are louder than ever. Where does he go from here? This was supposed to be the comeback. This was supposed to silence the doubters. Instead, it added fuel to the fire. Some pundits are already speculating retirement. Others suggest a move back down to light welterweight if his body can handle it. But at 33, with multiple grueling wars behind him, the path forward isn't so clear. It's worth noting that Taylor's decline didn't happen overnight. The controversial decision against Jack Catterall in 2022 was the first warning sign. Many believed he lost that night, and the backlash was severe. Then came the clear defeat to Teofimo Lopez, a fight where Taylor looked flat, uninspired, and a step behind. And now, this loss to Essuman, where his physical limitations seemed on full display. Still, it's hard to count out a fighter with Taylor's resume. He was undisputed at 140. He unified titles in enemy territory. He beat the likes of Regis Prograis, Ivan Baranchyk, and Jose Ramirez. That pedigree doesn't just vanish, but boxing is unforgiving. The moment you slow down, someone like Essuman is there to take your spot, and in this case, he did it with style. The aftermath of the fight was quiet. Taylor stood in the ring, absorbing the decision, nodding in resignation. He congratulated Essuman like a sportsman, but his face told the story. This wasn't just a loss, it was a reckoning. He later addressed the media with class, acknowledging Essuman's performance and hinting that he'd need time to reflect on his future. But you could feel the weight of what had happened. Essuman, meanwhile, was all smiles. He praised Taylor as a warrior and thanked his team for believing in him. He said he always knew he had what it takes to beat a world-class opponent, and now he's proven it. He's no longer in the shadows. If anything, the welterweight division just got a new name to watch. This fight might not make the list of all-time classics, but it will be remembered as a pivotal moment for both men. For Essuman, the launch pad to the elite level. For Taylor, possibly the beginning of the end. Boxing fans are left wondering what's next. Will Taylor retire? Will he try one more run? Or has the brutal nature of the sport finally caught up with him? Josh Taylor's loss to Ekow Essuman wasn't just another defeat. It felt like the end of an era. After dominating the light welterweight division and cementing his legacy as an undisputed champion, Taylor's move up to welterweight was supposed to mark a new beginning. Instead, in front of a hometown crowd at the OVO Hydro in Glasgow, it became a haunting reminder of how quickly boxing can turn on you. From the opening bell, Taylor looked like he might recapture some of his old brilliance. His jab was snappy, his footwork measured, his confidence visible. But Essuman didn't come to be part of a redemption arc. Round by round, the Nottingham fighter grew stronger, adjusting to Taylor's timing and imposing his own will. A head clash in the 7th round opened a cut above Taylor's eye, and the momentum shifted sharply. Essuman upped the pressure, walked through Taylor's offense, and started landing the cleaner, heavier shots. The final rounds showed a clear contrast. Taylor, once the aggressor, was now reactive and fatigued, while Essuman stayed sharp and composed. The unanimous decision in Essuman's favor, 116-1-13, 116-1-12, and 115-1-13, felt definitive. This wasn't just about numbers on a scorecard. It was about the visible shift in control, stamina, and hunger. For Essuman, the win is career-defining. It elevates him from the shadows of domestic competition to the forefront of the international welterweight scene. For Taylor, it's a crossroads moment. 3 consecutive losses, including one to a fighter many assumed was a step down in competition, have cast real doubt on his future. He showed heart, as he always does, but heart alone doesn't win fights at this level. His eye was cut, his timing off, his body visibly worn from years of punishing battles. As the final bell rang and the crowd offered respectful applause instead. Of triumphant cheers, there was a collective realization. The Josh Taylor we once knew may not be coming back. Retirement is now a real conversation, not just media speculation. And yet, Taylor remains a proud warrior, one who's defied odds before. Whether he walks away or tries one last campaign remains to be seen. But one truth stands firm after May 24th. Ekow Essuman earned every bit of that victory, and in doing so, he may have closed the book on one of boxing's most compelling recent chapters.